Hey, what's up guys? BJ Dell back with a new Wednesday weekly art challenge review video. Last week's word was Genie, so let's see what you guys came up with. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Like I said, the word of the week was Genie, and these are some of the designs taken from the Keep Creating group over on Facebook. If you haven't joined yet, hop on over after the video. The link is in the description. First one is from Quique, who is a new member of the group, and absolutely loved this Genie design. The overall look on this back is just fantastic. It's got a very realistic, almost human study look. The figure study is just really good. All of the muscles are super well defined. I love how some of the more defined ones are darker here with the shadowing, and it's just done fantastic. Looks really good, really believable, and really realistic. Also the background here, this cloud choice, a very kind of dream sequence type of look, which I think really ties in well to the subject matter. And I love the different use of colors. The overall kind of this off teal, off white color here for the figure itself that ties in to this same greenish teal. There's some pinks and purples in here. You got some purples here in the body too, and I think it is really fantastic. It's really well done. The one thing I'm not a fan of is, especially with designs, is incorporating too many styles in one design, and I think this one kind of suffers from that and could become a lot stronger design just by focusing more on the style. So like I said, you've got this really realistic look up here, but then the clouds down here almost have a I guess if you want to call it a cell shaded cartoon look to them. The break here of the darker shadow tying into this lighter shadow here, everything is really hard, really angular, as compared to up here, everything is very realistic. And same thing with the clouds in the background here. So I would try to incorporate the same technique up here for the body that you used down here in the cloud area as well. It's going to make it read a lot more congruent between the two different parts. And the other thing too is the hard outline here just really does not work with the rest of the design. Like I said, you've got this nice soft cloud background. You've got a very realistic shadowing technique for the muscles and the definition of the body, but then this really hard outline I think really draws the viewer out of the overall experience. I know I showed this in one of my previous videos. I usually draw cartoon stuff, but this one I did was a more painted style. And this is a Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth. And as you can see here, I usually draw with a heavy outline, but I let the colors of the character and of the design do the work. I didn't do any outline at all. This is just all the actual colors and the shadows and highlights from the character that do the work. And I think incorporating this same technique over here into this Genie design, I think it would work a lot better. You might have to play around because the character itself is so close to this background. You might have to play around with adding in more purples like this to split it up and adjusting some of the colors as you go around. But I think it's going to make for a lot stronger design. So, but other than that, fantastic job. Love seeing the work and love having you as part of the group. So thanks for joining in. Next up is Kaimi, and hopefully I pronounced your name right. I know we've been friends for a while on Facebook, but I've never known exactly how to pronounce it, so hopefully I did not butcher it. But he's an absolute fantastic artist. Love seeing the stuff that he posts in the Keep Creating group, and then also on his personal page too. Style is very almost like a street art, graffiti, hip-hop look to it, and I love it so much. It's got a very good dynamic motion to the character itself. The overall look is very kinetic, a lot of energy and motion, like especially with this, white squiggles in the background here. It's just got that good kinetic energy to it. The overall character design is great. I love the super muscular, very angled and angular look to these muscles is just super awesome. I also love here too, if you look like in the six-pack abdomen part, the lines here to define those are not super heavy. You can see it's just almost just the notion of a line. And what he does here is just really uses shadows and highlights to define that area. And it's done really, really well. And I like that overall look and the style that he used on here. So very, very good job. I always love seeing your stuff. It's super, super awesome. So thanks for sharing this week. Next up is Cory, and Cory, also a member over on Keep Creating, shared a lot of really cute octopus character designs that he's done, and I think has a octopus book that he's working on. So really looking forward to seeing more of that, and seeing that really cute cartoon style. I was kind of surprised to see something more comic book traditional like this, but I think it works really well. Once again, with the Genie, a lot of regular male type characters, so I loved seeing the female take on this. Really well done. Love the use of shadows, especially here in this the pelvic region, where that kind of ties in the body down into the smoke coming down here. I think works really well. As far as the design itself, I added in these black lines here just to make it fit on the canvas that I'm using. But if you take those away, did this nice vignette around there, which really frames everything really well. And one of my favorite parts is I love the hair and the ponytail coming down like this, even though that is part of the actual character design. It almost becomes like a background pattern, and I really, really like that. I also like the fact that you didn't go crazy with shadows and highlights back here in the hair, and trying to add every strand in and stuff like that. I think it works really well. It draws the viewer's eye in, and like I said, almost works like a background pattern that ties everything in really, really well together. So thanks for sharing, Cory. I really look forward to seeing more of the octopus, so keep on posting away in the group. Next up is Ken, and Ken went with a super cute Genie. Love the eyes, love the overall expression. This little, dent here for the nose or lack of nose, I just really like. The colors really pop too, and I think it's really good. The one thing I probably would have done a little bit different here is try to find a way to tie in the smoke coming up out of the lamp into the actual body of the Genie itself. It just kind of has this, break right here. So with that being maybe just, pulling this smoke up into the skirt here, or pulling the skirt down into the smoke itself might be an option there. But otherwise, I love the shadows here. They're done, not too hard, but they get the point across, and I like the technique used, and the kind of the subtle strokes around here looks very nice, along with the shadows up on the shoulders and the side of the face and head here. So great job there. And I also posted another one here from Ken, basically using the same design but in a sticker form, so you had an outline to it. And the reason why I picked this one and put this one in, I was actually just talking to somebody on the group the other day, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was I was talking to, and they said that using designs for print-on-demand products, and if you're putting a design like this on a dark background or dark product and wanting to do an outline, how do you get it to where the outline doesn't take over the design? How do you get it to where the viewer, or the customer in that case, is not distracted by the outline? They said they thought it was taking away too much from the design. And my response there, and also response here, is it's very tricky. You got to get the right size to the outline. It can't be too thick, but then again too, it can't be too thin. And in this case, I think this outline is really thick. It's taking away quite a bit from the design. When you look at it, you see the white first before you actually see the design. And in a case like this, basically what you want the outline to do is you want the outline to basically mimic the lines that it's going around. So the smoke here is a really good example of this. So these outlines here with the smoke, it's just basically, like a large blob. It doesn't have that basic shape that these trailing off parts of the smoke have. And that's really what you want to do with the outlines. You want it to kind of maintain that same feel, that same motion, and the same direction that the design underneath is going. So in this case, that's why the smoke is so good. You want these to be pretty thin, and instead of it being the blob like that, you actually want this outline to follow along that same basic pattern that the overall underneath design is, going for. You don't want the outline to take on a life of its own and add extra stuff that's not there. Like here you can see this should actually come out to a point here, and you want it just to basically, accentuate the design. You don't want it to kind of overpower it. So if you're using Procreate, I do have a previous video talking about doing outlines with Procreate and how you can do some stuff like that. There's also a comment in there that said that there's a stroke ability in one of the other programs. I can't remember which one off the top of my head that's available for the iPad. Personally, for me, I use Photoshop quite a bit and combine Procreate with Photoshop. If you guys have access to Photoshop, really the outlines are super, super easy in Photoshop. It takes, honestly, seconds to do. If you add in a PNG design from Procreate into Photoshop, go up to your edit menu and then go to stroke and then pick the size of the stroke and then hit OK. It just automatically applies it. For me personally, working on a 4500 by 5400 canvas like I usually do, set at 300 DPI. In Photoshop, when I go into that stroke menu, I usually set my stroke in between 15 and 20 pixels, and that's kind of the sweet spot that I go for. So you can play around with that if you, like I said, if you do have access to Photoshop. Otherwise, hop on over to that other video that I did showing you exactly how to do the stroke outlines with Procreate. But like I said, Photoshop is so much easier. So that's why I wanted to show this one today and kind of talk to you guys about the outlines here. But I absolutely love the work that you did, Ken. So thank you for sharing. So good. Next up is Sam, or Sam, 2 S's. This Genie is super cool. Love the overall look of this. Once again, kind of like Kaime's, the overall look of it is almost like a graffiti, street art, hip hop look, and I love it. This one really reads like a sticker as well. And you can see here the outline on this, it's not a white one, it's kind of this blue color, but see, it does follow around the actual curves of the design, and that's really what you want to get to, is making sure that that it follows along those curves and doesn't kind of have a mind of its own. And the design itself, I love the overall shape of the body, how this arm here is stretched out between this arm, and it's got a good silhouette look to it. So if you would completely fill this in with black, you can still see the overall silhouette of the Genie, and I think it works really well. Love the hat and the little tassel off the hat. Super, super cool. Shading and highlighting too is really fantastic, and I like these extra blue kind of marks here that pull out. It just reads really well. And then that was one of 2 that Sam posted this week. The other one here is a Bob's Burger Genie, and I'm not going to talk too much about the actual design or art, but I wanted to show this one off to kind of illustrate a point and drive a point home. I talked about it in one of my previous videos. It was a story time of how I became a full-time artist, and I've had a few people ask me, they said, I want to make the next step. I want to start making money with my art. I'd love to turn this into a full-time job. How can I do that? And one of the kind of pointers, hacks, tips that I give is stuff like this. You've got to get your name out there. You've got to get people to see your stuff. And fan art, I find, is one way to really do that. Of course, you're not going to be able to, throw this on a t-shirt, on a print-on-demand platform or anything like that. But what you can do is make it a personal piece that's going to get people's eyes on your work. So Instagram is like the perfect place to post stuff like this. Or if you want to start, a Facebook art page as well, but Instagram especially. So let's say that you're taking a picture that you drew of maybe an aardvark eating an apple. And how many people are really going to look for an aardvark eating an apple compared to, a Bob's Burger piece? This stuff is going to get seen. And then if you want to have that type of stuff on your page, when somebody clicks on this page, this photo goes over to your actual page and clicks on your profile, and then they can see that stuff too. Stuff like this is going to help you get your name out there. It's going to help you get seen by the public. If somebody's looking through stuff, sees this, they might be in need of an artist to do commission work for them. You might, score them as a client, or they might just add you and follow you on Instagram, and then a few months later have something come up and get in contact with you. But using fan art is a really good way to connect with an audience that you have similar interests with, number one, similar styles that they're interested in, and really gets your name out there and can make or break your, initial footstep into that door. So that's my recommendation as far as how to get started and how you can use stuff like this to put yourself out there. And last up is Genie H. And I think this is the first one that we've had in the videos, at least, that's a traditional style piece. It's not digital. And this one is a watercolor piece that she did. She apologized because she took a picture of it and said that she didn't have a scanner up and running yet. But that's okay. Take pictures if you can. We don't need scanners or anything else, and it doesn't have to be digital. It can be traditional. But this one is really great. Personally, I love watercolor. A few years ago, I used to be like really heavy into watercolor, and I haven't done it, like I said, in a few years, and I miss it. I need to get back to it. But just starting out, one thing I love about watercolor is when you're prepping your page or your sheet for watercolor is you see this kind of frame around here. One of my favorite parts is putting that paper down on your board and then taping off and taping down your page and your paper to that board. And then, when you get done painting all this in, pulling that tape off, and you've got just this nice clean line that frames your picture so well. And that was one of my favorite parts of doing watercolor. And Jenny really did a great job on this. The reason I wanted to show this too, obviously Genie, and she kind of went with the ocean conservatory type of route. Genie, I wish for a cleaner ocean. And this is definitely something very good to think about if you are working on the print-on-demand platform, or if you're doing other types of product sales, is to really combine niches. And this one, obviously combining the Genie with the ocean, I think these tie in really well together. It's not something that you're going to see a lot of out there. So kind of thinking outside of the box to make your artwork stand out. I think Jenny did a fantastic job at this, and it works really well. I think it's smart, it's clever. You've got, obviously the Genie here with the water bottle, but you've got the sea turtle down here with the plastic bag, and the the pop rings around here. You've got the coffee cup down here, and just everything works really good. So combining those multiple niches, thinking outside of the box and just being kind of clever with stuff. If you can combine jokes or stuff like this, not necessarily a joke, but just combine two different things that drives home a message. People, especially, Ocean Conservatory, are super passionate about that. So there's going to be people that, appreciate this type of stuff, and this is going to be something that makes you stand out, because not everybody's going to have this. I mean, this is probably one of the only ones that you would see if she throws this up on a print-on-demand platform. So fantastic job. And Jenny also, in the post for this, posted too, she has a Facebook art page too. So I will link that in the description. And that was kind of one of the last things that I wanted to talk about on today's video. So I initially started the Keep Creating group as a way for people to, meet like-minded people, show off their work, get encouragement, get feedback, give feedback, and to learn. And all of that's happening, and that is so fantastic. But it's also a way for you guys to show off your artwork and kind of feel passionate about what you do. And I love seeing everybody's growth. But that being said, if you guys have a Facebook page, if you guys have an Instagram page, when you post these drawings, designs in the Keep Creating group, feel free to market your page on Instagram, on Facebook. Let everybody know where they can find you. Obviously, I don't want people using it as a way to sell products or anything like that, but if you can promote yourself and get your name out there, definitely use that to kind of gain some followers, gain some traction for yourself. And I am going to be more than happy if you do post stuff like that and your design is featured in that week's Art Challenge video. I will definitely plug your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever it is that you want me to direct people to. Basically, I want to use this as a stepping stone for you guys. You can get your name out there. You can get some exposure as well. So that's really what I want to, come out of this. Like I said, don't sell stuff in there unless you want to talk to me, beforehand about it. But I really want you guys to start using that to make a name for yourself and get some exposure. So thanks to everyone that posted designs this week. You guys rock. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Also, special thanks to all the artists that submitted designs this week, especially the ones that were featured there. Leave them a comment below and let them know what you thought. Give them some words of encouragement. If you want to possibly see your designs featured in upcoming videos, make sure you hop on over to Facebook to Keep Creating, the Learn, Draw, Share art community. The link is in the description below. That is where you submit designs for these weekly art challenge videos. If you like today's video too, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications so you can get alerted when I post new videos. And speaking of the word of the week, I have done all these words of the week. I've been the only one featured on this channel so far, but we have a special guest this week. I received a very cute video last week that kind of had a request for next week's word. So I'm going to let her pick and show you the video that she sent in because it's absolutely adorable. So roll the clip.
Your channel. You're such a good artist. I was also wondering if you could make the word of the week unicorn, because I love unicorns. And maybe I can show the drawings that people send you on my YouTube channel, because that would be awesome. Also, I just got your new book, and I can't wait to practice drawing every day in it to see how much better I get in the year. Thanks, bye!
All right, guys, that's it. You heard her. Pretty Pink Unicorn picks unicorns for the word of the week. I actually did a Let's Draw video previously on unicorns, so if that helps you out, make sure you hop on over to that video. And like she said too, she actually got the copy already of the drawing prompts book, so she's a big fan. But if you missed last week's video, this book is available on Amazon right now. Keep Creating 365 Days of Drawing Prompts. The best way to get better at art is to draw every day. And I know these videos are once a week, so if you want to draw every single day, I made this book to give you 365 things to draw. And it's very cool because at the end of day 365, you'll be able to flip back through to day 1 and kind of see your progress over the year. So I'll put the link for this in the description. It is available on Amazon. Speaking of links, I'm also going to link to Pretty Pink Unicorn's channel. She's got a YouTube channel as well. I'm going to put that link below. Super adorable, super cute. I hopped on over, checked it out, and subscribed to it myself. If you guys have kids, super family-friendly stuff that I'm sure your kids will love. She's adorable and doing really cool stuff on YouTube. So check it out. Help out a young girl and subscribe to her channel. You won't regret it. As for me, I can be found online, bjdell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at bjdell. So until next time, keep creating.